Right, so next up we've got Christian Chapman, and this is one what I've been actually wanting to do for a very, very long time, but it's also been one what's actually quite hard to kind of organise because we do live quite a distance away from each other. But obviously, Christian has recently started his podcast. I've been doing mine for kind of quite a while, well, inconsistently for quite a while, in all fairness. But we've known each other quite a while now, anyway. To be fair, in all fairness, but obviously it was more with the coach convention. We started chatting a lot more and I'd say that probably out of people I do actually speak to in the fitness industry, Christian is kind of one of the top people at the moment, just because of what he's like as a person, his beliefs, his values, and overall, he just fucking enjoys it. Basically, I think that's the best way I could describe it, and that's kind of what I like because there's a lot of mismatched toxicity in any industry, but there's quite a lot in the fitness industry. And one thing I like about Christian, he just keeps it straight to the point. So just for a brief intro, mate, do you want to kind of tell us who you are before we start diving into a few questions I prepared?
Yeah, so coached by Christian, as most people would know me, but my actual name's Christian Chapman. Been coaching for like 7 years, or helping people for 7 years, let's say. It actually became a business 3 years ago next month. Well, it seems like fucking 30 years. Like that 3 years, as you know then, because you probably watched most of it, has been like intense. I help every kind of client, Gen Pop, competitors, pros, everything. I absolutely fucking love it, as Ben said. Compete myself as well, or at least try to. I think that wraps it up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, some of stuff like he's been involved like Christian is one is a top level secret influencer when he gets is like he's got every code known to man. But the thing is with Christian, he actually does perform for them codes, which is like a lot of people. He might not have 300,000 followers, but like if you sponsor Christian, you get a lot kind of back in terms of promotion. I think.
Yeah, I think people tend to have like a bit of a loyalty. Like, yeah, I've got like what 18,000 followers or something like that, but they're very not. I don't want to say influenced by me, but if I get into it and I say it's good, most people are gonna like buy it, which is cool. Like I've been with Strom for like 4 years, and I've always been the top performing cookie dealer. I'm the top performing. Build and Bake used to be the top performing. Um, Stuff like Kyber, I was actually top performing for them as well. Oh, hey.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I love it, mate, because like if someone's trusting me with something or giving me something for free, essentially, I want to fucking make sure they think, oh man, it's worth it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, it comes down to being a real person. And I think that's one thing with me and you. We've always been real since day one. Like there's been times where I'm like, oh, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm a bit shit at the moment. Or, oh no, I'm actually fucking smashing it, mate. Like I am killing it. Do you know what I mean? And it's a case of there's never an in between. I think when you are quite honest and open, people are obviously going to buy into that. And I'm going to dive into this massively actually later on in the questions as to how the hell has Christian blown up such a business in 3 years, and it comes down to that fact. But as an initial starting point, before we build into those questions and build into that journey, so commonly known as part of Physique Collective, then obviously moved to kind of going on your own. So the first question that I've kind of got for you is one, reason for actually wanting to go on your own in the first place. Second, how you've actually found it, and what would you say the pros and cons to it have been?
So yeah, I was one of the founders of Physique Collective, which was sick, man. Like it was a good learning experience. I got to work with my mates for a start, which is cool, and try and build something up as like a bit of like a family vibe, which I do like. But I also remember the day that I had to, because I used to be coached by Christian on Instagram before that anyway. I also kept that username on a fake account so that like no one could ever have it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's no underscores, there's no numbers. It's just coach. I'm the OG coached by Christian. So and I remember when I was told like I had to change my name, and I was pissed, bro. Like so I built this up like myself, and I was a bit gutted by it. But I was like, whatever. And I think I just realized over time that like I am my own thing. Like I'm different to everyone. Like I'm a bit fucking weird. I'm a bit mental, a bit hyperactive, and I am pretty fucking selfish. Like I'm not a team player at all. I'm just not good at that, and I'm also not good at taking criticism from other people. who are like your friends, I just take it personally. So it just wasn't working out, and I wasn't putting everything into it. And I don't like being a part of something that I don't want to put everything into, because that's my thing. Like with my own stuff, I just put absolutely fucking everything into it and go full send. And leading on to the next part of that, since I went full send on my own, it's just gone mental again.
Yeah. I remember when it all changed, right? And I got a message from Ben Bray. It's always funny when it does. Like I remember when like Pro Coach originally changed, and that I weren't part of them at that point. But anytime someone does something big in industry, I get loads of messages from people like, "Oh, have you seen this?" Like, I'm a connoisseur of what happens with coaching businesses, so I'm like, "Oh, good shout." But I remember when Ben messaged me saying, "Oh, fuck it, have you seen Christian? What do you reckon?" And I just went, "He'll fucking thrive." I knew straight as soon as I saw it, I was just like, "It's meant to." Some people are like, if you look at kind of personality traits and stuff on that side, like some people are built to thrive in an environment. I've had to adjust myself to doing that. Not I would say I struggled to work in a team, but like I'm very, very good at just putting my fucking headphones on and losing myself into a hole working on my own, which is why I'm got ridiculous level of anxiety about doing all these trips that I've got planned. But for example, like when you're part of a team, like you either thrive in a team or you don't thrive in a team, and you can do well there. But like there's a certain point where like you've got to look at yourself and think, if I went on my own, where could I take this? And for some people listening to this, it might not be a good move, because I have so many conversations with so many people turn around and go, "Oh, if I leave this, for example, I'm part of this company now, or I'm part of this group, will I leave? Will I do well?" And I'll turn around and go, "Well, based on what you like with your content, your marketing, have you got a following around you? Are you only something because of them?" Whereas with Christian, he was always Christian. It was like went onto his stories, went to his page. He was like seen as like a high value object himself. So like when he went on his own, I was just like, this is just gonna rock it and just build up momentum. And over the last 6 months, I've just seen like brand change, inviting to events, invited onto multiple podcasts. Like the amount of fucking people who are tagging you in your story has literally fucking doubled. Like, and I know that sounds daft, but like, I watch and track stuff like that. But like he gets hammered with people who want to interact with him on stuff on socials now, and that came from having the balls to actually kind of go on his own.
Yeah, 100%. I just felt like, I'd already built something before that. I can do it again. And, I just felt like I could get more for myself just being on my own. Simple. And it's worked. So I'm fucking buzzing about it, to be honest.
Yeah. So when you look back, right? So that's obviously been one thing that's gone very, very, very well, massively positive. The Reyt Collective has taught you a lot, great experience, coached by Christian. If you're going to look back at whenever you first started in the last 3 years, what have been the biggest fuck ups that you've made, which have led to positive outcomes? So what tough lessons have you learned?
To be fair, bro, like, because I read your questions before we got on this, and this was like, this is the hardest one for me to answer. And I don't want to say like I haven't made any fuck ups, okay? Because there's definitely things that would change. But at the end of the day, it's also everything I've done has landed me here. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't say I've done like any fuck ups. I'll be honest, I wish I started it much sooner than I did. Like properly going at it and taking it a bit more seriously in like probably like 4 years ago, because I could have done this a lot sooner. 100%. I just know I could have. But I also think that massively comes down to a personality trait of mine, which is like I don't have really any self-belief. And it's only probably
I'm gonna dive into this now, actually. Yeah. Carry on, yeah.
I think it's only been in the last like 6 months where I thought, you know what, actually I'm all right at this, I think. Like, but it cripples me sometimes of just being like, yes, some sort of like imposter syndrome, but it is genuinely like just the self-belief of like, right, you are good at this, mate. And like when people compare me to other coaches, I'm like, nah, I'm not on that level. And they're like, no, you're not on that level. You're better than them. I'm like, oh, am I though? Do you know what I mean? So I think if I had more self-belief, bro, it'd be great. But I think there's a big fine line, bro, between self-belief and just being a cocky prick.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that he made was not buying into himself much sooner. And I knew this on the first conversations I had with Christian. I was like, what the fuck are you? Because I looked at Christian as like a fully well-established coach, like up there and like top in the like UK fitness industry. And I know when I turn around to someone and say like, look, you're this, and they turn around and go, Oh no, I'm not. But they fucking, someone fully knows that they are at top level. But Christian was like, "No, I'm not," and he literally would not even believe it. And I was like, whenever we were like having conversations about his business and that, I was a client, I was like, "Why are you even fucking charging this, bro?"
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not being funny. I'm like, I'm not paying it. Like, you need to be charging this, and you need to be doing an internal price increase. And it's like they might not be mistakes. They're lessons and stuff what you adapt to over time. But the moment that again, Christian fully bought into himself and started driving stuff out now, bang, he's charging appropriately for online coaching, charging well for actual paid business and coaching consultations. And that comes from that belief. It comes from the lesson of thinking, like, look, if I don't back myself, then no one else will back me.
Yeah, it's like, to be honest, it's because that, like, all of this stuff, like, mate, I've done like 20 podcasts like in the last like 4 weeks probably, and I'm like, right, and like 2 seminars and shit like that, and I've got another seminar in 2 weeks. It's like, right, I'm being asked these things, so I must be all right at this. Like, and so it's starting to drill into my head a little bit now. Like, yeah, you're all right at this, mate. So like, just keep doing it. Yeah.
No, and that's what. And another conversation that we often have is like comparison syndrome and imposter syndrome. So I remember when I was like chatting to Christian last year, and I had like a growth spurt. I literally went from doing well to like, fucking hell, what is even happening here? Who am I even working with? Like, what is going on? I couldn't even comprehend the shit what was kind of landing in my lap. And I was saying to Christian, like, I don't understand it because I'm kind of a bit of a nobody. And he's like, every time that he's kind of doing something, even only like probably a week ago, he messaged me going, do you get imposter syndrome? And I was like, yeah, most of the time when I look at my WhatsApp.
Yeah, all the
And
time.
it's like, and I think that imposter syndrome is something that it's like almost like you've got like a level. You've got like a level on a chart, and you'll start to compare yourself to everyone, and then you start comparing yourself up and comparing yourself up, and you're like thinking, do I deserve to be in this bracket? Because all what happens is like the bigger that you get, you will always continuously look at the people around you, and you'll compare yourself to people who are just above you. I think that's what it always comes down to. Because like for me now, like I get like really bad like comparison syndrome when I'm comparing myself to people I have no right to even be comparing myself to, for the amount of time that I've been doing it versus the amount of time that they've been doing it. I'll see something that's pop up on social media, I'll see this, I'll see that, and I'll be like, fuck's sake. And I'll get pissed off at myself because I'm not doing well enough. And it's just, I think that's just a natural process that you do have as like a director or someone who's simply wanting to become better.
Mm. Like, I genuinely think imposter syndrome is a really good thing. I know it is for me, because I don't let the things like annoy me anymore, because I understand me getting annoyed about a situation doesn't do anything about the fucking situation whatsoever. I more so use it as, right, like if I've got imposter syndrome, that means I want to be better. And if I'm constantly trying to like be like, right, I want less imposter syndrome, I want to feel better about this, I know that I will do everything I can to be improving what I'm doing at the time, so that I don't have as much imposter syndrome, so it's not crippling me anymore. But it's like, it's at a level where I can still, I've got it at a level where I'm just going to improve, because I don't want the imposter syndrome to be crippling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's like you just got to keep pushing it. It's almost like your imposter syndrome is always going to be there. You just got to keep pushing it further away because you're moving simultaneously towards it at all times.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the moment that you haven't got imposter syndrome is the moment that you stay stagnant.
Yeah,
And
you're not challenging yourself.
I don't do staying stagnant, mate.
No, 100%. That's so in transparency. Like we started this like Zoom call and Christian like, how are you, mate? And I was like, I've had a bit of a loopy 2 weeks, in all fairness, because I always tell Christian like, there's one people I'll be open to. And it was like, why? I said, because it's almost like my job role's changed, which I post on social media. So we've got loads of staff, we've got loads of free time, and I'm not used to having loads of free time. So it's like, now how do I fill those gaps? Because straight away what that made me think is, I'm not doing enough. I'm not working hard enough. I don't deserve to be in this position. I shouldn't have this free time. And that's how a lot of people's kind of head works. And then it's like, now, right, sound, what do I need to do? And it's a case of, I need to network. I need to get as much content as possible. I need to see as many people. Next thing you know, I've got a fucking calendar from hell in how I see it. Flying different places, driving to different cities, doing all stuff like that. But that's me getting out of my comfort zone. That's me tackling imposter syndrome, because guess what? The guys who are 10 years ahead of me, they've done all that. They've done all the networking. They've got the profile. They've got the name. And for me, it's I've got the product. I just don't have the name, and that's where I need to put my effort. And it's like, and that you'll naturally come in, and because what'll happen is, 6 months, I'm like, right, now I need to do something else. Now I need to do something else. And I think the main thing that you need to do is when you do have imposter syndrome and comparison syndrome is take action and do something about it. Because otherwise you just sit and bitch and feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, which doesn't really get you anywhere. Well, it doesn't really get you anywhere. It doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
Simple. But yeah, that networking thing, bro, I feel like my social profile has gone up so much this year just because I am here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Traveling to see this person, going on this podcast, going on that podcast, whatever it is, it's like I'm just saying yes to everything because it's good.
Yeah, and do you know what? I actually forgot to do this. I was genuinely going to tag you at bottom of my social media post the other day when I went on that walk, saying all I need to do from this point is say yes to more. Because it sounds daft, but I've had times where clients have turned around and gone like, "Oh, can we go and do an in-person day? Or can do it? Come and do this." And now, like, it's actually made me think this situation's actually improved the value of the product even more, because I'm like, look, you've not only got all this staff, all this agency, all the calls, but I'm going to be doing a full day on someone's business with them. And for me, that's what I need, but it's also what they need at the same time. But if I'd have not been pushed to that point of thinking, fuck, what am I doing? I'd have never come to that conclusion. I'd have been sat at home feeling sorry for myself, thinking, right, oh, well, what do I do now? Get on bike and cycle more. Do you know what I mean? You're pushed into that corner. And I think a lot of the time is, especially for entrepreneurs, is when you start saying yes to more, it does screw with your routine. And I know that you're on it with routine, but you've got it. And we've had this conversation before, is you do it because you're like, if I'm not in routine, I can't reply to clients as fast, or I can't do this, I can't do that, or whatever. And this is where you've got to come in and go, right, you can't be accessible all the time. You can't be, like, don't get me wrong, you can reply to a WhatsApp at any time of the day. That's bullshit. But sometimes you might not be able to do a check-in. I might not be able to do a call. I might not be able to do that. And all you've got to understand is, like, in order to progress, you need to make sure that you aren't closed in a little prison box. You're not in a cell. You have got the freedom to be able to go out and do these things, because if you've got, like, kind of that whole 24/7 availability, 365 days a year or whatever, like, that's no growth to business. That's just you telling yourself some bullshit story. You can provide a high level quality service and not be accessible to people every single week, every single month. And you can do these trips and you can get out.
100%. Set some boundaries.
Yeah. So for example, like when you've got that, like one of the biggest questions I'm going to ask today is, because I feel like I'm only just finding this as well. Would you say that one of your key interest in, like, your cars, right, is one of the biggest things that allows you to have good balance with your own business?
Yeah. Or at least allows me to try to have some more balance with things. Like now that I don't do check-ins on the weekend, I literally just do them Monday to Friday. So that frees up pretty much all day on a Saturday and Sunday. Granted, when it comes into competitive season, which it is now, most weekends are going to be filled up with shows, which is fine because I want to be there and I do want to do that. But I know that it's like this weekend, I haven't got anything on. Cool. Well, I'm going to a charity event on Sunday, like a car charity event. So going to that means I can switch off, have a nice day that's nothing to do with bodybuilding, and then going to a friend's barbecue on the night. Again, nothing to do with bodybuilding, nothing to do with work, stuff like that. Saturday, I am still like contactable and stuff like that. And I still do bits and bobs of work. But generally, it's like a day for me. So I might go to a spa or something, because that's something that I love to do because it makes me feel really fucking good. And if I burn myself out on a weekend doing loads of work, my Monday to Friday productivity is shit. And that's when it needs to be its best. So I do need to take that time of the weekend of being like, right, this is my own thing. And like, yes, cars is like a massive passion of mine. And funny enough, when you're driving, you can't go on your phone.
Yeah.
So,
as do you know what? Amount of times I've turned around to someone and said, like, why did, because I felt like, well, Christian saw how stressed I was last year, but like, it's this year I've tried to like level it out and I've got balance. And I was like, people turn and go, why suddenly turn around and go getting into road cycling, getting into boxing? I definitely can't go on my phone when I'm on my bike, and I definitely can't control the phone when I've got gloves on. And for me, that's one of the best things, because I've just started back in the gym again, actually, and I'm enjoying it because I've got that balance now. But before, I was going to the gym trying to do a gym session. My phone was blowing up. I was spending 25, 30 minutes in and then just walking out because I felt there was no point because I had to go to my desk. And it's like one of the first things that I recommend to people is like, look, yeah, you've got your business, yeah, you've got training, but like, what is that extra thing that you have away from that? And if don't get me wrong, if training is your number one thing, yeah, you absolutely live and breathe it, that's fine. But I can genuinely promise you that a high percentage of PTs and online coaches hammer the gym and obsess over the gym just because they think it's good for business and not because it does their head any good.
Yeah, like I've got so many clients, bro, that are into cars. So why who do you think they're going to go to? Me.
Yeah,
because we've got something to actually talk about and relate about instead of just fucking bodybuilding all the time. You know what I mean?
no, 100%. And it's something that I recommend to people that look, find something. Do you know what I mean? Collect some stamps. Do you know what I mean? Do some weird shit. Do what you need to do, but find something which is the person you are, away from just a physique and away from just kind of the business side of things. Because if you don't have that balance, you'll just lead to burnout. And as Christian said there, like, fucking hell, like, for example, I don't know if you do this, but like even at all these car shows, there's thousands, hundreds of people, there's groups, there's pages. You'd be shocked at what type of business you can pick up from just having a passion separate.
Yeah. Yeah. I do, like, I think some people might get the wrong idea sometimes, but me, like, posting pictures of cars or when I'm at an event or my own cars and stuff like that, some people might think, oh, it's showing off. Okay. But people that know me know that I'm not, for a start, because I like to share my passion. But it's also a pretty good business move, because if someone sees that I'm driving something like that, they think, fucking hell, he must be good at what he does. I'm going to go to him.
Yeah. Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. And it's like, right, well, how, again, that's how, like, my business consults, I have them all the fucking time. Why? Because people see that I've done all right from it. So they think, what, how did you get there? You know what I mean? So it goes full circle.
I can't say that with my blackout van. It's a cool van, but it's not.
Sick van. It is a sick van.
It's definitely not a thing. I've sat on, mate, honestly, I'd look, do you know what? I promise you, the day when it comes to me thinking, right, I'm just gonna, because I want to build my own house next and have plenty of space to have enough, because I ain't got space for 3 cars on there. But when I come to getting a car, I'll be asking you, and I'll just turn around and go, what shall I get?
Yeah, I'm coming with you, bro.
Because I can't get anything else. I can't, like, I've got 2 Huskies, I've got bikes, like, do you know what I mean? There's going to be kids, there's going to be whatever, family. I can't get all that in a nice car. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a bit stuck with a van. But right, moving on to the next one now. So this is the biggest one in my opinion. So if I was sat here as a business consultant and I vetted Christian's business and everything else onto that side, and I turned around and went, right, all the stuff. What do you know? What I'd say is very similar to Josh Bridgman earlier. All the stuff that he is not doing but doesn't need to do just simply because is so good. They've both got an incredible product. So, for example, I could come in and go, right, you're not doing X, Y, Z, 10, 20, this in terms of lead generation and sales, but they don't need to. Why? Because, for example, with 1MR, the product's that fucking good. They don't got to stress about that. When it comes to Christian, it's him and his client relationships that he maintains is that good, where he ain't got to stress about retention. He ain't got to stress about referrals. And if he's getting results, it's coming through. So if you look at Christian, like, what's he doing in terms of marketing, social media, going to client shows, podcasting, having affiliate like supplement companies and all these different sponsors. But in terms of all the fancy stuff that you'll see me talking about, lead gen resources, webinars, paid media, outbound messaging, fucking all campaign, like multiple campaigns and all this whatever stuff, don't need to do it because it's just that good at nailing the absolute fucking basics. So my question to you,
so rich, bro. I'm so glad about it, because I do not want to do that shit.
No, exactly. Some people do, and some people don't. It's
one of them
ones. Do you know? But the thing is, most people don't, mate. But it's the fact that most people don't spend long enough on nailing that type of stuff. So they have to. They try and jump in and think they're suddenly going to grow a fucking online coaching business. So they start rushing and doing all that. So your main thing is maintaining client relationships. And I've actually got a question here, which is like, right, you've got maintaining client relationships and ending client relationships. What would you say that the number one factor is for maintaining a client relationship from a online coaching, personal training standpoint?
So firstly, making them feel like, you know, they've got all the time in the world from you. Okay, and I do hammer that home. It's like, look, some people aren't going to need much contact, but some people are going to need a lot of contact. And if you can be there for them all the time, which I am, okay, and yes, is that exhausting sometimes? Yeah, massively. But I know that like one of the main drivers of business, bro, is keeping clients. And if I'm not there for them, okay, someone else will be. Because there is always someone that's going to be doing it better than you are. Okay. And if I take on too much or whatever, and my client communication skills go down, then I'm going to lose clients. So I don't want that to happen. And it's like, I have a lot, bro. I talk to everyone. Okay. And like, I know all the coaches and I get all the gossip and whatever. Okay. And it's like, oh man, this guy's saying this and he's doing my fucking head in and he's coming to me with this, he's coming to me with that. And yeah, sometimes, bro, people tell you a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
And is it directly related to coaching and bodybuilding? No. Okay. So I understand why some people are like, oh, well, I don't want to help him with that because it's out of my pay grade, or I'm not a therapist and all this sort of shit. I'm like, right, if I can lend someone an ear and they need to talk to me about something, and by talking about it, they feel better. And then by me replying to them with some words of wisdom or whatever, or making them laugh or getting them to forget about it for a little bit, or just help easing them, is that going to then help them with their own progress? Yes, because they're not fucking depressed going into their week after their check-in. Okay. I know from personal experience, bro, of coaches that will be like, I don't care about that. You shouldn't be telling me about it. I can't be like that because I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
Okay? And I genuinely, bro, I genuinely get off on helping people, bro. I love helping people. If someone comes to a problem, I'm going to try and fix it. I am the fixer. I am Mr. Help. I love doing that. And that is a driver. People don't want to leave because I help them with so much more than it's just their bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love that there, because when someone comes to me with something non-bodybuilding related, which is huge progress in their life, I don't know. I can't think of an example off my head, but they've passed their exams for something or whatever, or they've got over a relationship, or they've moved whatever, and they've done it stress-free and they feel really good, and they say thank me for it. That makes me feel really fucking good. So why wouldn't I want to do that? I like feeling good.
Yeah, 100%. Communication. No, I like that now. But the thing is, it comes down to communication. As it's like some people don't want to have them conversations with clients. They don't want to put them effort into clients. So, for example, and other end of the spectrum, when it comes to me, when it comes to someone's business, it's like, right. So if someone's coming in and investing that much money into this, it can't just be coming in and doing some bullshit fucking one-to-one call. I've got to think of every different kind of communication to keep someone at ease and support them. So we have like, obviously the Monday boards, we have all the decks, we have a full company WhatsApp group with all staff in. All staff have one-to-one calls with them and touch points with them. Then there's a company report, which I review how they're feeling, every single week, to then review on a one-to-one level. Then I have one-to-one. Now I'm even doing in-person days. All that there is just multiple forms of communication. It's got nothing. It's not like, for example, that there is not talking about a single ounce of delivery. It's just maintaining communication to maintain a client relationship. So, for example, that's why I've freed up a lot more time recently, because Beth's now the account manager. So it's like she's the client relationships manager, and Charlie is like sales and lead gen. So it takes off a lot of scope for me. So I can do a lot more oversight and management and planning. So it's like, right, I've got more free time now. How can I improve this even more? I'm going to see every motherfucker who's on this roster, whether in the US, Dubai, whatever. So, for example, when you're talking like Christian there, Christian won't miss client shows if you don't have to. Do you know what I mean? And I've watched it. Like, doesn't matter where it is. Like, if I've seen you fly, is it like Poland or fucking God knows where I've seen you fly, or like Spain, like, and that's that. If it's in the UK, or we're driving around, and you'll see that, for example, like if you follow him, most people on my page probably will, because I've got fuck all followers. But for example, if you follow him, you'll see it's like, right, 5-6 hour drive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's just the effort to see people.
You know, as an example, bro, like this weekend just gone. Friday went from Birmingham to Sheffield, back to Birmingham. Saturday, Birmingham to Bristol, back to Birmingham. Sunday to Birmingham to Chester to Manchester, stay over in Manchester to Monday, back to Birmingham. That's a lot.
It's a good job you enjoy driving cars, isn't it?
I fucking love it, bro.
That is excellent.
But the communication thing, bro, I scream it at my clients of like, if you don't communicate with me, I can't help you. And I am here to help. And it's also what you're paying for. So fucking talk to me. And a lot of people do find that hard to talk. So I get it.
That's good. But yeah, so you're talking all this traveling, and this is the final one. I tried to do about 40 minutes. Final question for today. So there's obviously the common saying, which is like your network is your net worth, right? And me and Christian are like totally on the same wave level. When people, I hear this term being thrown around, and people are fucking having a cigar, sat with the fancy stuff, giving it large. But in reality, like there's a different sense to it, right? Because what you've got to take into account is like, yeah, your network. If you know loads of people, you can earn more money, but your network will always open you more opportunities. So, for example, like something that I'm focusing on now, and Christian's had all these 20 different podcasts. So we've already spoke about this kind of today. But when you kind of look at what your network is like compared to at the start 3 years ago to where you are now, what moves or what things have you tried to do, or what things have you done in order to try and, because you are very, very well known in fitness industry now. You know, like, do you know what I mean? Like you're talking US based, like especially in the UK on that side. What have you gone out of your way to try and do to make sure that you are kind of known, you are seen?
Trying to be a good person. I know that sounds pretty fucking simple or whatever, but it's like we're just trying to be nice. Like when I go to a show, I will shake everyone's hand, hug everyone, talk to everyone, whether I fucking know them or not. Do you know what I mean? And like that being seen at events, expos, shows, seminars, whatever it is, and just coming across really well and talking to everyone and being a really nice guy and being exactly who I am on Instagram, because I try to fucking hammer that home that the biggest compliment for me is when someone comes to me and says, man, you're exactly like what you like online. I'm like, yeah, well, why should it be any fucking different? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put on a persona. This is me. And if you like it, you fucking like it. If you don't, well, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's fine. But funny enough, I don't really get that many people say, oh, I don't really fucking like you, bro, which is nice. Okay. So it must mean, right, like the saying yes to everything, the meeting up with everyone, the being nice to people and putting yourself out there all the time, it gets you noticed. And then that gets you into, well, you know, I'm privileged to say that Tom Hames, Cal, Joe, they're all my best mates. Do you know what I mean? It's great. And being around those, that only gets me more noticed.
Yeah. And you don't see like one thing with Christian as well. And I can't say the same about other people out there, but Christian doesn't really see people as competition. Like that's one thing. And to be fair, that when it comes to the business side, I have to see people as competition because it's fucking savage, and that's what it's like. But when it comes to coaching, right? For example, you're just literally going out of your way to help people. There's not really money involved. There's not really like the ego and stuff what there is within the business like sector of it. Like if you're a coach, network with as many other coaches as humanly possible. Just because you spend time with somebody in a gym and they tag you and they see that person does not mean that they're going to steal all your fucking clients. Because I know that's what some people are like, oh, I don't want to tag that person. I don't want to collaborate with that person. I don't want to do this. Well, you've got to take into account, it comes down to your profile and how well you're known over X amount of years. You are not going to know many more people if the only thing you're ever doing is sat in your own little fucking pool and in your own little kind of area.
Yeah, exactly. And bro, like, look, there's enough people to go around for everyone to coach loads of people. And, you know, I get clients from Cal gets clients from me, I get clients from Tom gets clients from me. It doesn't fucking matter. That's what happens. Do you know what I mean? I literally had the conversation with Tom 2 days ago because I've took on someone who previously worked with him. Yeah, man, that's cool. Like, it's normally, do I need to look out for anything, bro?
Yeah.
Like, is this
what red flags are there?
Yeah, is this person mental? Let me know. But it's not, because this is what happens. People come, people go. Simple, you know. People, and sometimes it's just because someone wants to try something different. Unfortunately, with coaching industry, bro, sometimes it's flavor of the month. Someone's got a load of results really quickly and stuff. Oh, well, I'm going to go to them because they've got the secret.
Yeah.
Okay, but
100%.
normally it does normally go full circle. Shit always fucking stinks, bro.
100%. Right, I'll wrap it up there. So I'll do a roundup. I don't know when this is going to drop on YouTube, but it is going to be on Spotify. I am going to start loading them up to that. I am going to be consistent with these again because trying to organize in-person podcasts when you've got clients all over is quite frustrating. So for that, Christian's Yeah, but Christian's smashing it. That's one thing I'll say as well. Do you know if you're thinking about launching an in-person podcast, watch how Christian's done it. 'Cause it's been flawless. Getting the person on, announcing the person before, gathering questions, building it up, dropping, staying ahead. It's been a perfect how you've kind of done it, mate, 100%. And you can see that people are following that journey. But for me,
Are you free on the
oh,
20th?
man.
No.
If I showed what 28th, what?
This month?
I get back from Dubai, mate. Honestly, I'm just looking at this thing. I've got UK, US, Dubai, Marbella, Ireland, Scotland, Rome, Greece, France, Spain.
I'm all right, thanks.
In about 4 months. But it's not even funny. I'm pretty sure if it's 28th of June.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll land back on Dubai on 27th. But if I'm free on 28th, why? Yeah, you inviting me on?
Yeah. Yeah, let me know this week because I have to book it and then I have to get the videographer. Oh, it's just a ball ache, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll let you know after straight away, pal.
Yeah, it's safe. Nice
and
one.
then I might stay. What is it? Is that what day is that?
Wednesday.
How far's Birmingham to Rotherham?
An hour and a half.
All right, so I can just drive there and drive back at the same day and get some food afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, sound that's perfect ending. Right.
And
I'll finish there, guys.
nice one.